Thank you very much, Val, and thank you much to everyone who is attending right now, whether you're live or listening to this. Thank you for coming to learn more about what's happening in the Microsoft Dynamics SL world. So it's been busy happenings, lots of things going on. So let's kind of talk about and discuss what we're going to discuss during this session. All right, there we go. So the first thing that we're going to focus on is Lifecycle. What's going on with the Lifecycle, what products are in what area, so we'll talk about that. Then we're going to talk about what's released since last year. This session today, we were supposed to have about 5 different sessions at our annual conference. Obviously that got canceled due to the weather, so we're kind of taking little chunks from everything and kind of putting it together in this session today. So we'll talk about what's released, we'll talk about our web apps, some of the big things that we've been doing over the past year around web apps. And then we're going to focus on some of the areas that we're getting ready to release in our next release, which is going to be around Power BI, Power Apps, and Flow. And then that will lead us to, well, it's kind of letting the cat out of the hat. Obviously, we are coming out with a new release next year, Microsoft Dynamics SL 2018, which will be including a lot of those things we talked about before, but we'll talk a little bit more in depth about what's happening with 2018 and what makes it a little bit different than the releases that we've had in the past. So again, thank you for being here. Let's go ahead and get started. So Lifecycle. If you are on Dynamics SL7, as of today's date, you are on a solution that has left the extended support cycle. So it is no longer in mainstream or extended support. It is now out of the support lifecycle. So that's been basically 10 years that the product has been available. And what does that mean to you as an end user? Well, I'm a marketing guy, so you can guess what marketing is going to say. Well, he's going to say, it's time for you to upgrade. If you haven't and you're on SL7, we definitely want you to start thinking about upgrading to the latest and greatest versions of Microsoft Dynamics SL, whether that's right now on SL 2015 or in the future on 2018, we want you to upgrade. But let's put it back, and what does this really mean if I am on SL7? Well, it basically means now that you no longer can call in or email in to get support for your version of SL. This means if you have an issue, a question, you are not going to be able to get support. Generally, will be unavailable for you if you're on SL7. Now, that usually raises the next question, and I kind of built this slide out to kind of give you an idea of where you are by looking at which version of SL are you on. So if you're on the right-hand side, we just talked about that. Support has ended. You're on Dynamics SL7, so no longer can you go ahead and contact support for assistance. Now let's go to the one that's slightly newer in our releases, and that will be Dynamics SL 2011. Now what's going on there? Well, that is in extended support. Now, what is extended support? Extended support means that if you're on SL 2011, you can go ahead, call in, or email in, or go to the website and request some support. And that is completely fine, and they will be there to help you with any issues that you're having. Now, what is different is there are no longer hot fixes being created for a product that's in extended support, and also there are no year-end updates. Now, what year-end updates mean is no W-2 updates, no 1099 updates. If there's any changes to the core code that needs to happen, they are not going to happen when a product's in extended support. Now, this is not just something for SL. This is a Microsoft Dynamics idea. This is not something that we do specifically for SL. All of the Dynamics products follow this same pattern. So again, they don't support those, and they don't put hot fixes or year-end updates for their solutions either. So the next question I usually get is, okay, we're in extended support for SL 2011. I don't get year-end updates. What can I do? Well, I'll pause, but you will be able to speak with Ms. Val here at the end of my presentation. She'll tell you about an option that you might have if you are still on SL 2011 and you need year-end updates. And the last question I get is, how extended support, when is that going to end for SL 2011? That's not going to happen until 2021. So again, what I want, if you're on 2011, do I want you to move up? Of course I do, but then you do have a little bit of time. The next is, where are we at with SL 2015? It is in mainstream support. So that means that you do have the opportunity that if you find an issue and you would like to request a hotfix, you can do so. You will get year-end updates. So at the end of this year, You will get those W-2s, 1099s, and any coding changes that we needed to make to keep track of that information as well. Mainstream support for our Dynamics SL 2015 goes through 2020, and then extended support will take you through 2025. So hopefully that helps you out. Again, if you're an SL7, I'm assuming you probably have already something worked out around support. But again, this kind of gives you that broad view of where we are in the grand scheme of things. And then, as we just talked about a little bit earlier, there's a new version that'll come out that we'll be able to put up here once that releases as well. So the next thing that I want to talk about is, well, what has released since next year? Again, this was an annual conference presentation, so I kind of take a view of it. So what have we been doing in the last year? So a couple things happened. In the December timeframe, we went ahead and released Dynamics SL 2015 CU2. Now, the whole nomenclature has changed here in the last several years. We no longer go to service packs. We go to something called a cumulative update. And a cumulative update, really all it is if I've released a set of hot fixes in a time frame, it's taking all those hot fixes and rolling them up into a bundle and releasing them. What's the benefit? Well, obviously to the end user, you don't have to put as many hot fixes on. You just put one installation, it takes care of it, installing all those hot fixes, and you can move forward. So that's what we've had. And the end of last year, we released CU2, which had all those. But what we also did is a little bit differently is we added an additional solution that we shipped with CU2, which was our foray into Power BI. Now, if you haven't seen what Power BI is, we'll actually be walking through that here in a couple seconds. But what we did with this is we delivered a Power BI dashboard, which was focused on our project users, being able to see information about your projects, how you're doing, and being able to make that available. So that was released last December. Now, what we also did at that same December timeframe is we came out with a new version of Web Apps, and we actually kind of changed the way that we do things with Web Apps. So in December of last year, the same time that CU2 is coming out, we came out with Web Apps and we released a numerous number of changes to the core product. These were enhancements that were out there. So we did a bunch of enhancements to the product. We also added some brand new Web Apps as well, and then obviously hot fixes or anything that had been out there. Now here's the thing that's different. We then changed and went into a monthly release cycle. Now what this meant is that every month there is going to be a new release of Web Apps. What will be in those releases? Well, what could be in them is hot fixes. So let's say Jeff reports an issue. The hot fixes are being addressed as soon as we can get them in our queue. So what that means is if I report an issue now, I don't have to wait 6, 8, 12 months for a solution. It's something that can happen a lot quicker, and that we can get that and get it addressed and get it into solution to address any issues that you might have found. But more importantly for me personally is I like the fact that we also have the ability to go ahead and put new enhancements to the product. Where are these enhancements coming from? Some of these are long-time enhancements that have been sitting out there that we're just queuing up and adding to the system. But the ones that excite me just as much are the ones that we're getting from our customers. So customers are working with us saying, we love it, but I'd like to add this or change this or enhance this. So we are doing that, and I still want to get those things. So I've done these presentations and I'm still getting people coming up going, love to meet with you. So if you are watching this or listening to this, I'll give you my email address at the end, but I still want to hear from people because our goal is to continue to enhance the web apps, make them more and more usable for the end users, because those are the people that are giving the feedback, because they're out in the trenches having to use it, and they can tell us the tweaks and little things that we need to do to continue to make it better. So again, we continue to roll them out. The October release, this is being presented in October, will be out here in the next week or two. So again, we continue to add new things to that as well. And we will highlight just what some of those things that we've changed over the past year right now. So if you are not familiar with web apps, I'll just take a quick second to give you the highlights. Basically, web apps are the way that you remotely access Dynamics SL. So what it is, it's a website that's hosted that I can access whether I'm on a Microsoft device, an Apple device, or an Android device. And that's the big benefit. Now, we've had remote access before in an old product called Business Portal, but it could not be accessed by these different devices. So the idea is it's a website, I can visit it, and I can get to it no matter what device I'm on. And that's really the goal, is getting you access wherever you are, no matter what device you're on. And as far as, again, what we've done, we've put in over 75 enhancements over the last, I guess we're now looking at here, 10 months. We've added 3 new web apps, which was around vendor, customer, and payroll. And we continue to make enhancements to the core product to enhance based on customer and also items that we have as well. Now, what do we have available currently? Well, here's kind of a list. Now, obviously, the first thing that we had to do is we have people that were using our old remote access, which is Business Portal. So the first thing we focused on was moving over the core project features that people needed that were on remote access on Business Portal. We needed to move those over. So that included time entry, expense entry, and project maintenance and approvals. So all those are available here as well. Some enhancements, of course, are it's built for a small device or a tablet device. We've also have expenses. We have the ability to attach receipts, which you couldn't do out of the box with Business Portal. So we enhanced those areas as well. And then we've added things like time sheet, which it might be that my job is to put Tom, Tina, and Sandra's time into the system, and I don't want to have to worry about logging in and having them do it. Maybe it's just my job, or maybe it's I put in my time for my boss. Again, timesheet entry is geared towards somebody else putting time in for multiple or other people. Approvals, delegations, kind of the same thing we've had. You would assume that if I'm going to put things in, I need to be able to approve them. The next is for project maintenance. We've added that functionality so I can set up a brand new project, edit it. I can also now set up resources, employees and resources. Along with setting up those, I can also go ahead and set up their rates. So maybe Jeff is billable at $75 for this project, $50 for this, $100 for the other. Again, now I can do that all remotely. And then the last in that column is our project analyst, which we've had for a while, but making that available on these devices as well, as that's giving me the financial overview of how are things going with my project. Next, we have the employee utilization module, which is the ability to say that Jeff needs to be 75% billable. And based on that, we're going to go ahead and set it up in the system, be able to track how's he doing against that. Now, on top of that is there hasn't been, but we've added here through web apps, is the ability to do resource planning, which think of resource planning as kind of the what if or the sandbox type of idea. So for example, let's say I've budgeted for this project, 100 hours for a consultant, and we're going to go ahead and throw Jeff in. We're going to put him in for maybe 25 hours this week, 20 next week, 15 next week. See how that goes, and then look against the budget. Yeah, we're doing okay. You know what? We need to get this done sooner, so I'm going to throw Val on it because she's an expert on that, and we're going to go ahead. And it gives me a place to play around and move things around and see how they look, and then I can also take the end results and move them over to the budgets. So I can do that both ways. The next, we just talked about being able to access your vendor maintenance screen, your customer maintenance, and payroll employee maintenance screens. So now you can access them remotely and be able to make edits, changes, add new vendors, customers, and so forth. Now in the red are all the items for the reporting and querying. So the one at the top of the screen, reporting, we basically have access to go ahead and do reports. So I can request a report, and it's basically about 78% of the reports that you can do in SL. What's not going to be in there? Well, invoice, check printing, those kind of things aren't going to be in there because we don't want those readily just willy-nilly giving to people. But a lot of the core reports or even your own custom reports can be put up there. So it makes it much more accessible. And the cool thing about this as a key thing is it does not use app source. It uses a service that will run the report for you, but no app source do you have to worry about. The other one right below it, quick query ad hoc, all the quick query functionality that you have in 2015 available here on the web, as well as an inventory lookup screen. Now on top of that, we have some of the fields and screens that we had available in the business portal around our requisition module. So you can do an item request or approval through the web, as well as our payroll, being able to enter payroll time, whether it's for standard payroll or the advanced payroll. So lots of things out there. Again, these continue to be enhanced, but I just want to kind of give you, if you haven't seen it in a while, to give you that quick overview. So let's talk about what we have changed and what are some of the highlights of things that have changed over the year. or actually the last 10 months. So the first thing is, this is the menu that you are probably familiar with if you've ever seen me demo this in the past. It is the perfect emulation of Battleship Gray. What I'm very excited to say is that now I have a new thing to show when I demo, and we can take those line items and turn them into icons. So now we have full icons, colorful in the standard Microsoft style, but again, we have the idea of colors, icons to give people an idea of what we want them to go into. Now it's the same functionality. So I'm sitting here, I'm looking at the items out here, and I want to go into projects. All I do is click on projects, and it takes me to the project menu. Now, some things to note on here is what we've done is we have color-coded the menus to these items. So when I'm in project, everything will be blue, so that I can quickly see on the screen that I'm in the projects menu. If I were to go back and go into inventory, it would be orange, payroll would be red, and so forth. So you can kind of get that idea. So we've added icons to make it look much nicer. Especially if you're on a smaller device, it's much easier to get to things and open them up using your finger than it is when it's that line item basis. So we're excited to have that as well. Now the next thing is, this is not something that you have to use. You might love the old menu, and I apologize if I offended you, but you can keep the old menu or turn this on or off. So that's kind of, as you'll hear, that's really what we do. Whenever we add a new feature, we allow you to turn it on or off because we want you that flexibility. Now, the other thing that you can do is you can actually customize the tiles. Let's say you don't like our icons, and that's fine. I'm not going to be offended. Let's say you want to change them. Maybe you want to add a smiley face to one so it really pops to be able to show somebody, hey, look here. You can do that. So you see over here on the shared information, I opened up that icon, I threw in a smiley face, and boom, that's what's going to display. Or you can go ahead and have some fun, which really works well when you're in a live audience, is when you're showing an icon of yourself. In a demo here on a webinar, maybe not as good. But again, the idea is that all you need to do is replace the current icons that are in there with a brand new icon. All I did is I renamed, I think this is the requisition one, so I renamed item request to the name of my picture and put it in there, and now that displays for everyone. So again, along with enabling you to turn it on and off, is to be able to easily customize it, and it really is simple. It's just dropping an icon of the right dimensions into the folder, naming it properly, and boom, it's going to show up. All right, some other items that we've added is an area that I constantly run into, and that's the idea that I'm putting my time in for the week. And it's Friday, dude. I just need to get out of here. I'm done. I'm really done. So I come in, look, oh, there's that project that I'm working on. Yeah, I put my time in, no problem. So I go ahead and click on process. I go ahead and click on save, and oh no, whoops. I thought I know it. I did put in the line item, so this is the right project, but I did not put my time in for every single. What am I going to do? Well, in today's world, what you'd have to do is you'd have to go and contact the person who is in charge of approving your items. So maybe I'll contact Val. It's Friday. She's probably want to get out of the office too. Hey, when I do this, Val, just wanted to contact you. Could you go log in and reject my time card because I completely messed up? I really apologize. She's busy. She finally gets to it. I'm late for what I wanted to do, blah, blah, blah. You know, this is a scenario that we've all seen and all run into. So what I'm really excited about is that as long as this is still sitting out there as a time card that's complete and hasn't been addressed by my approver yet, I can actually reopen it. So what does that mean? If I click on the summary button, the screen becomes enabled, and if I have this feature turned on, again, bring that point in, you don't need to turn it on, but if it is turned on, we will get this new reopen button. So by clicking on reopen, it asks me, it requires that I put in a reason why. Hey, I forgot my time. I can go ahead and click on the reopen button, and ta-da, my time card is open, and now I can continue to put in the proper time that I forgot to. Now, as a side note, what's going to happen is the approver is going to get notified, hey, by the way, someone has submitted a time card for approval, and they're going to get that. But then they're going to get a second one in this process. When I went ahead and reopened it, it says, Jeff has reopened the time card. The reason why is that he forgot his time. and you'll get notified that that has been reopened and you do not need to do anything with it right now. So I love that. Again, something you can't do in the rich client, something that we can do in the web apps because we have that capability. And then a great example of, to me, of a solution that's really helping out as well. Now, another one that we've added as well, and we had a whole session dedicated to this, so hopefully we'll talk about this sooner rather than later, was that I wanted to have the ability to add something called an external link. So we're used to being in a web page that I can drop a link to some other page or some other place. We have added that capability by making some tweaks to the current code. So if you're on a newer version of the web apps, we've tweaked the code to be able to add this external links. And then it's not, today it isn't as simple as just dragging and dropping in there. We'll look into that later. But what it would allow you to do as an administrator is drop in those key links into this area by running some statements. And we had a whole web apps customization area that we were going to talk about this, which we will definitely do at the session, but hopefully we'll see if we can get some of this stuff out earlier rather than later. And if it's something that you look at and go, oh, Jeff, we would really like that sooner than later, again, you'll get my email address and I can go ahead and help you out with that. Now, the next thing is a feature that, again, makes a lot of sense. It's been done in Business Portal. Now it's available out of the box here inside of the expense entry. So the idea behind this customization, or not this customization, but this feature that you can turn on, is that when you are in the system and you're putting in a project and task, more than likely the expense that you're putting it in for, I went and I traveled to Tampa or I traveled to St. Louis, is that everything that I'm putting my time against in that expense report is pretty much going to be for the same project and task. And instead of me having to type it in over and over and over again or copying and pasting, wouldn't it be nice if it would just auto-populate from the previous line? So what does that mean if I go ahead and click on the new row and I go ahead and I put in my entry of hotel? What will happen is as soon as I select hotel or type in hotel, if it needs a project and task, it will look at the previous line, grab that value, and automatically populate it. Huge time saver. Again, just makes sense. Great feedback, things that we wanted to add as well, and now we've got this ability to automatically populate. So great examples there, again, of listening, getting great feedback, and being able to add them. Now here's one, and I apologize, it is a little blurry, but I wanted to get the idea behind it, is one of the one that's coming soon, and the reason why it's coming soon is that this is already in the 2018 release that's going to come out, but what we're doing is we're rolling it back. But the idea behind it is that a lot of companies, you are required that you have to enter an invoice comment for every day that you work. Now, if that is true, what would happen today is you would have to click on every line item one at a time, and then as you clicked on each set of data, so the 4 hours, the 6 hours, and 26, then the invoice comment icon down here would update to show you, okay, you have an invoice comment, you don't have an invoice comment. But that's a big pain in the butt if I have to click on every single line item to see it. So what we have done is we have changed it. So now what we're doing here is you can quickly see by line item, I can see that I've got my invoice comments for Saturday, for Sunday, for Monday. They're in the system because the little star has been displayed to show me that there's some text behind it. I can see that I haven't done it for these days, so I need to take a look and jump into it. And the idea is to give you that visual cue so you can quickly take action. And then secondly, give you a quick way to access them. So again, these are coming soon. Look for them coming down the pike here in the next several releases, but we're excited about this one as well. So those are just some of the things. The thing that we're really learning here is that this idea of doing monthly release, especially around something like web apps that we're trying to grow and add and get great feedback on, has been hugely successful for us. We've been able to turn around and address customers' needs much quicker than we have in the past. And that's because we're going into this whole agile model where we're able to do sprints and we work on things, get them done, put them out the door, get them tested and get out the door, and then go on to the next set of things that we need to work on. So that has been very, very successful. We've added a lot of new web apps features. We're continuing to get new web apps customer requests for things, and then we're able to address things. So we're continuing to work on them. We've already got some things that are going to be for SL 2018 only currently. The reason why they're really, just not to go too deep, is that's because there are certain features that we had to change the database to adjust to be able to take advantage of. And obviously we don't want to do that in 2015. We don't want to mess with the database or you won't use it. So again, very, very successful with our web apps, and we're real excited about where we are and where we're going with them. So that's kind of where we're at. Let's talk about what we're working on now, some of the things that we've been doing, and kind of where we see things going forward. Now, one of the areas that we've seen, if you've been to any Microsoft event or been to any Microsoft site, you've probably heard about the Power series. So whether it's Power BI, Power Apps, Flow, these are neat, wonderful technologies that are being able to connect to really anything. And one of the benefits of Microsoft Dynamics SLs being part of that is we get all the information that we need to get connected to these things so we can start working on them. And we can make sure, and one of my goals is to make sure that Dynamics SL is able to use this latest and greatest feature functionality. So one of the things here, Power BI is really that visualization tool that enables you to share information with other people, in some case drill down to see the details and be able to get that information out to the people who need it. Now the neat thing about Power BI is really it's got a connection to almost everything out there. It can be connected through SQL right to your Dynamics SL database. It can connect to something as simple as an Excel document and provide you a neat, uniform way of sharing that information in a nice interactive format. So that's the real benefit of a Power BI. And if you haven't had a chance to play with it, it's definitely something that I would recommend you look into. Now, what we did last year, we talked about it, is with CU2, we came out with our Power BI pack. And what it was included in there was a document. And what this document would do would walk you through how to connect Power BI to Dynamics SL. It even walked you through, okay, where do I go to download it? How do I grab it? What are the steps? So this is a great document. Again, you don't need to upgrade to Dynamics SL 2015 CU2. You just need to be on 2015, and this will walk you through that process. So definitely recommend you checking that out. Now, the more exciting thing other than just getting connected was we actually delivered a dashboard, and it is a project dashboard. Now, a dashboard obviously is just a collection of multiple reports or views of your data put onto one screen so you can quickly view them, compare things, and take actions on them. So in this particular one, this is a month-to-date look at your labor and expenses. So that's the one we have up here. Then we have your gross margin month-to-date and looking at the previous month. So we can look at and see how things are going this month versus last month and see how we're trending. We also have ability to look at your revenue, labor, and expenses and look at high level where we add, look at the specific people that are working on them, drill down to see all the time that they're spending. So this is an example we've drilled down to see the exact details of where the revenue, labor, expenses are coming. And then at the bottom of the screen, we have a top 10 projects. And this one's done by month-to-date revenue, kind of showing you where we're at as far as how good are we doing, what's our gross margin percent, and so forth, so we can quickly see how things are going. Now, the nice thing about it as well is you do have these slicers. So out of the box right now, if you look at this report, if I had it clicked this way, it would go ahead and show me the top 10 items based on the entire period that are out there. I'll look at the current period, but I'll look at all the current years that are open and all the current periods. Now, the nice thing about this is that I can go and say, you know what, I'd actually like to run this report for a specific year, or a set of years, or a specific period, or a set of periods. And that, by clicking on these items, that goes ahead and updates what I'm seeing on the screen. In addition, we have different statuses as well, so I could look at just the ones that are active, those are in plan, and so forth. So again, it's basically the way it was written was to connect to what you have in SL and be able to take advantage of it right away without really you having to do too much. So if you're in Dynamics SL 2015 and you've got project, you can connect this to yourselves right today, and you'll be able to start taking advantage and seeing the information in the system. Now, along with that, we also have that similar report, but we're looking at inception to date. The other one, we're looking at month to date. This is looking from the beginning of time to now. How are we doing? And we can go ahead and take a look at that. So again, it gives you more information about these projects, but again, similar information. The next one we have is our top and bottom rankings. The top projects and top project managers, as well as the bottom of those as well. And again, you can see this was an early screenshot, but we can see there's a lot of data here. If we were able to go in and interact with it. We could go ahead and drill down and just show us the top 5, the top 10, the top 20, and so forth. But it gives us a nice view of how we're doing against those. And the thing that really gets me excited here is all these different measures that you can slice on. And the nice thing, again, as we were talking about before, you can select multiple ones at the time. So for example, let's say I could click on the project to date revenue, expenses at the same time. The report would update and show you both of those numbers at the same time and say who was the top and the bottom based on that information. So you really have kind of unlimited carte blanche to kind of start slicing and dicing up your data to see what you have. And so this is available obviously today. Obviously it will ship with 2018 as well. I'll talk to you about it in a second, what we're looking to do around the Power BI when it comes to 2018, what's different about here. And we'll talk about that here in just a second. But that kind of gives you a high level. Again, if you're interested in learning about Power BI, definitely just go out to any Microsoft site and type in Power BI. Download these files would be great. Talk to your partner if you don't know how to get them. Get those files so you can kind of start playing around with them as well. Now the next thing is around Power Apps. Now what are Power Apps? Well, Power Apps basically allow you to go ahead and start creating applications against the data that you have. Nice things, again, it'll connect to what you already have. You don't need to actually know how to build and code or anything. So it'll allow me to create an app with forms and be able to create workflows and so forth, all within this solution. And it's something that I can run mobily. So that means that I can go ahead and I can create something as simple as show me the items that are in my inventory. This let me see a list. So maybe something very simple. Let's just say this is a list example. Down here I can get more in depth where we can actually do a little bit more of our graphical using a little bit of Power BI type of items and showing me high level information, be able to see some graphs and drill down to the attached items and so forth, so we can kind of do a little bit more. But again, the idea behind it is it's a simple app that you can write. Now, the idea behind it is that with Power Apps, it's going to connect to things we're kind of right out of the box. So it's going to connect to Excel, SharePoint. It can connect to Dynamics SL by using a connection through SQL. But again, we'll be creating some more things around that going forward. But again, the idea is that you can create a Power App to update your Excel, so you can create a Power App to update SharePoint, whatever you need to do. If you need to automate a process that's currently a manual process, definitely look at your Power Apps to do that. And again, the idea behind Power Apps is, again, turn what you know about your business into something that you can build into an app that doesn't need to be built out. And we are looking to use these Power Apps. We will deliver some, and we're going to show you one in a second. So we're looking to use Power Apps as we go forward as well to be able to turn out things quicker that in the past might have been a rich client thing that we might say, you know, that's just too much. It's going to take too long. Let's just go quicker and do something through Power Apps. So we're definitely researching that. Now, the other item that Power Apps links into is something called Flow. And kind of think of Flow as a great way of monitoring and being notified of things that are happening or being able to take action on things that are happening in your system. So the idea behind it, and here's the example that they use at the Microsoft side, is let's say, for example, you're obviously at your company, you more than likely you have a Twitter account. So what you could do is have a Flow setup that is monitoring Twitter, and it sees that whenever someone mentions something about it, let's say Val mentioned something about our company and says, I really love Dynamics SL. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I can automate it. That sends an email that says, thank you, Val, for your mention on Twitter. We really appreciate it. If you'd like to learn more, talk to us, blah, blah, blah. We can send an email. Now, at that same time, we can have that Flow automatically take Val's information from that Twitter feed, go ahead, put it into an Excel with what she said, and then what it will do is automatically email Jeff. So Jeff gets it and says, oh, okay, let me view it. And then I get to view it, she says, and if it was nice, then I say, you know what, we probably want to keep track of that, Val, make sure she's being taken care of. So I can click on a little checkbox in my email to say, yep, that's great, and it can automatically send that into my Dynamics system. So maybe I have it set her up as a customer in the system. So again, just an example. Again, plug in what you could, but again, it gives you that nice way of really, again, there's a lot of built-in ones, especially if you're connecting to things like Excel, SharePoint. Those come out of the box. What we're going to be working on is creating, again, here's some of the examples, is creating some of these things that will connect to Dynamics SL as well. And just like we talked about with the Power Apps, these are available on your phone, tablet, via the web, so you can do things that you need as well. So what I did is I said, okay, well, I want to make sure that the SL world is included in this whole Power Apps, Power BI, and Flow area. So let's go ahead and start creating an app. So what we did is we created an app that will allow us to view our customers' receivables, run an aging if we need to, email the aging results so I can get a copy of what happened through the aging, and be able to contact customers. So that was kind of the request that I put out to the team, and I'll show you kind of quickly what we've come up with. So this is an early version. We were going to show you this to you live, but just for time's sake that I have, I wanted just to kind of walk you through what we have here as a demonstration. So this first app was built for the phones. Just the reason why I say that is just because of the dimensions and the layout of it. This works really well on a phone. And the idea behind it is that, again, I pull this up on my phone, I can go ahead and look and see how things are going with my customers. And I see that Adultum Corporation has an outstanding balance of $24,000. Ooh, that's not good. I probably should go ahead and contact them. So it's built, and you see the little ellipses on the side. If I click on those, it will take me to a screen or show me some details. This is in early versions, but the later version shows you the details of the amounts, where the balances are, what different companies, since we do multi-company, we could show you exactly where they're at. And then it allows me, if I want to, I can click on the little icon here for the email, and it will go ahead and pull up an email, and it's gonna go ahead and automatically email saying, hey, Mr. Person at Adultum, can you tell me why you've got $24,000? This isn't good. And I can go ahead and move forward with working with this customer. Now, the other thing that might happen is I might scroll down and I go, you know, City Power, I know we just received a payment from them. I don't think this is correct. So let's say you are remote and you don't want to have to call someone at the office or make someone run the aging process. Well, we can do that remotely as well. I can click on the execute aging. It'll pull up a screen where I would see all the different options, and this is just kind of a mock-up of one, but we could go ahead and choose any of the cycles that have been defined in the system and hit the execute button. It's just going to make sure I'm sure I want to do so. And what we'll do is at that time, it's going to run the aging on the SL side. It's going to take the results and put them into a file. And this Power App is now linking into a flow that says when that runs, I want you to go ahead and automatically send an email to Jeff with this information. So it's attached. It says, hi, I see the attached. This is a result. Obviously, this is predefined text. And then I can go ahead and click on the aging. And again, this is an early version of it, but the idea is that we would be able to send them a copy of the aging to see exactly what's happened with the latest aging. And if you look at this screenshot, of course, this means that I'm in a severely old demo database because everything's way over 90 days. But again, you get the idea. I can get a copy of it if needed, or we can set it up to send to multiple people, whoever needs it. Now, another thing about flow, this is where we're working with the flow in emails, is I can actually take actions on things. So in this case, I could go ahead and send this to my manager and forward this to him. Instead of having to hit the forward, I just hit send to manager, and I could either have it automatically send the same report, or I could forward it on. But the idea that I can interact with it gives us an idea that something that we want to do going forward is to be able to interact with your data in SL. We'll talk about that here in just a second. Now, we also created, I said that's really great looking, but what if I'm running on my tablet or my desktop? I've got a lot more real estate. Why don't we create a tablet version of this as well? And so that's what we did. Again, same idea. I can search for customers, find the ones I want. We'll just choose the phone company in this example, drill into the information to see exactly about them. I could go ahead and email them, call them, run the AR process. Again, all those things are available to me here. But again, you can see very different looks, same way, again, using Power Apps to be able to present that information. Again, the goal is to have these to you available here through the 2018 release to be able to connect and be able to display that information. And the idea is that we don't see Power Apps or Flow being just one release and being done. This is something that we hope to provide you. And then you can hopefully take them with your partners or yourself and expand on them as well as adding new ones in the future as well. So that brings me to the next important thing, which those obviously we talked about will be a part of the 2018 is kind of when is 2018 coming out. And so we are announcing that SL 2018 is currently scheduled for the first half of calendar year 2018. So the first 6 months of 2018, we hope to get it out and get this product out into your hands. Now, the next message is, to me, just as important, if not, is around something that we're going to do. Now, as I spoke of earlier, with web apps, we've had great success in releasing things monthly to be able to address and get things fixed or address issues or add new things, which is the thing that I like. So what we're going to do with the SL 2018 releases, it's going to start, we've started our agile methodology, which we've been doing, but the idea is that we are going to start a quarterly release cycle for SL 2018. That means that when SL 2018 comes out, whenever it does, that does not mean that that is the end of 2018. It means that Jeff, and this comes a lot from me, I think, and my hope for you is that we could continue to add things to SL 2018 because of all the things that I wanted. I know that development won't be able to get them all to me by the time we release. If we're told, if we were told we have to release, Jeff would probably be pushing back the release several years to get as many things in it as he could, because in the old model, that's the way it was. You released and then you had to wait several years for the next release. So this is very, very big to me, because this means that and hopefully to you as well, is because this means that I can get more things to you. And what are those things? Well, let's talk about that real quick. I'm going to skip this because this is a build slide, so I can kind of build out what these things mean. So the big things, obviously, we've been working a lot around power. Power evolution, as it says here. One of the things that we're creating is a connection so that when you go into Power BI, today you can go and connect to other solutions. We want to be able to have a button in there, an icon in there that you can connect to SL. It would make the connection to SL quicker, so you can connect to your SL database, and then it will make it easier for us to deliver paths going forward. So right now, obviously, we have got our project reports that we can deliver to you, but if we wanted to add more, that would allow us to do that. And then the things around Flow and Power Apps that we talked about. Now, one of the things that I really like about Flow is that it does support the idea of doing some type of approving. So that brings me over to here, is that we're going to look to add approvals to the Dynamics SL process. So we're going to build the tables out for approvals in the core product, and then my idea, and believe me, we'll see how we go with it, but my initial idea is that we could then use something like a Flow to do approvals on top of our key screens, as long as we've got the base tables in there and some things to the tables. So that's going to be happening. Obviously, with our web apps, we talked about that. That continues on. In the query area, we're going to continue to enhance our quick query functionality and features. We're going to take our query and preview feature that I love so much of 2015, where you could preview invoices and being able to see how they're going to look before you release the batches. And we're going to roll that out into the other areas of the product as well. Now, as far as optimizations, the area that I kind of looked at this time, since we're focusing a lot on these new features, is continuing to fix the things, and then let me take away fix, change the way that we do things. There's some things that we've been doing the same way for 20 years that I'd like to help us speed up. There's some processes that we have to take 3 or 4 or 5 steps to do something where I think it should take less. So we're focusing on some of those areas. I'm not going to go into too many details right now because I've got a lot of irons in the fire right now, but let it known that we are looking to enhance those areas to make the current processes going forward better, whether it's payables, general ledger, user interface, and so forth. Now in the project area, we're going to go ahead and continue, as we always do, enhance that area. One of the areas that I can kind of talk about now is enhancing the invoice process to be able to automatically, whether you're doing preview invoices, preliminary, or finals, to be able to store them in locations. And the idea behind it is that if I have to print out a bunch of invoices right now, one of the things we run into is if I want to print it out and it would take a long time on my printer, you have to do it. You could do it to a PDF, but it would take you, because you'd have to say yes, yes, okay, 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 multiple times. We're going to automate that process, but also secondly, we're going to automate putting them into a SharePoint site. So if you have an approver, we'll have a place for that approver to go to view all those invoices. So whether that's not just the final invoices, but the previews as well. So we're looking to get that set up and working as well. So that's just the tip of the iceberg. These are just some of the things that we can talk about now. Obviously, you can see we're focusing on new areas of Microsoft with the Power BI, Power Apps, Flow, and so forth, as well as being able to continue to enhance the product. So again, this is the same roadmap that you'd see for other products. Again, SL 2018 coming out the first half of calendar year 2018, and then ongoing support and ongoing additions as we have this new quarter release idea. So Very, very excited about where we are with the product, where we're continuing to go with it. Again, if you have any questions on anything you've seen, here's my address, v-jsuwyn@microsoft.com. Any questions? Also, if you have some thoughts on what you would like to do and enhance any of the current products, I'm always excited to hear those, so please feel free to reach out to me as well. Now with that, I'm going to go ahead and switch it over to Valerie, and Valerie's going to talk to you about some of the things on the Plumbline consulting side, some of our Plumbline proven solutions that we have that are out there. So Valerie, I can see your preview right now.
Yep, wrong screen, wrong screen.
Right.
How's about that one? There we go.
There we go. So I'll turn it to Val. Again, if you guys have questions, put them into the question pane. I'll let Valerie go ahead and talk about what she has available there, and then we'll answer your questions when we get done. Val?
Thanks so much, Jeff. Hello, everybody, and good afternoon. I hope we are all enjoying the webinar. And today I just have some updates and some key information I wanted to share with the SL community about what's going on with Plumbline Consulting. So one of the ideas we have, or one of the packages we're offering right now to people who are still on SL 2011 that Jeff mentioned, it's needing year-end updates. So we have a year-end update package for SP2, FP1, and SP3, and you can pay for the subscription. Sign up by the end of October is one cost, and the cost increases through the end of the year. And we will provide the year-end updates for SL 2011. So if you are still on SL 2011 and didn't have the time to upgrade before the end of the year, or ran out of the budget and it's in budget for next year, reach out to your Microsoft partner and sign up for our year-end package. Another great product I wanted to talk about today is our Quick Find. So we have rebranded our Rainbow Search product and are now branding it as Quick Find. And with our Quick Find module, we have this product for APARGL project controller, as well as inventory, purchasing, sales order, lot search, and a couple of others. And with the product, you have this color-coded legend at the bottom, and you can search for information by pulling up the grid right here. You can search for any of this information. You can say, give me a customer with the word life in its name, and do shift $ contain string and find and have the system look for anything that has the word life in its name. You can also just type in a reference number or an invoice number and hit find and be able to load the grid and drill down to the actual document. Now, one of the nice features that was added to the product is for APARGL and Project Controller, you can export the information. Oh, that was fast. Sorry. You can export the information from your search grid into an Excel pivot table. So that's a great new functionality that comes with those 4 modules. And you can, any information that you export into the search, you can export into the an Excel pivot table. Another product that we are partnering with now Fastpath on is the Audit Trail module. So we are now providing the Audit Trail powered by Fastpath, and this is a module that gives you the ability to track all the changes in SL all the way down to the tables and the fields, as well as email reports to you say that your supervisors or the people that need to get the audit trail or the audit trail reports into their inbox. So this is a very robust audit trail or audit tracking system, and going into audit season, you might want to look into adding this into your Dynamics SL. Then we have Affordable Care Act. If you have more than 50 employees or the equivalent of those 50 employees and have not yet found an ACA product for your filing, please look into our Integrity Data's ACA SL edition. Now, even if you're not using SL Payroll, this module can work even if you're using an outside payroll system. You do have to file for this year, and we do have a product that can help you with this. So please stay compliant. Use an ACA solution, and if you do not have one, reach out to us so we can show you ours. We also have a webinar scheduled for this on the 25th, and we have a webinar already posted on our website under our YouTube channel. One of the products I wanted to show you today was Prepaids Processor. This is because this is a very popular product. A lot of people are tracking their prepaids on an Excel spreadsheet and then posting it monthly, your journal transactions. This product gives you the ability to create your prepaid one time. If you have customization manager, you can actually create the prepaid directly from the voucher and adjustment screen. And then once you've created the prepaid, you can go into a screen and hit process prepaids, and it will process all the prepaids that you have set up in the system, creating the debit and credit transactions and posting into the general ledger for you. So this saves you time, saves you money, gets your data out of tracking it in spreadsheets and puts it into Dynamics SL. Prepaids processor. If it sounds like something you're interested in, please reach out to your partner about it. We also have a product called credit card import. This is for people who are using their credit cards and hand keying their credit card statements into SL on a weekly, monthly basis, however you bring it in. If you would like to have it to stop hand keying those, please look into our credit card import product, because you can load the grid here, edit it, and then post it right here directly to AP, creating a transaction or a voucher for every line item in the grid, a dummy check paying that line item, and then a voucher to your credit card company to be paid. It's a very popular product for people who are using their credit cards a lot and hand keying their statements into the system. Another product that is popular is our voucher to credit card product. This product was created for people who are paying their bills with a credit card. Now, one of the big things that is going on right now, where banks and credit card companies are offering you to let them pay your bills and they give you cash back or bonus back points, things of that nature. You have to provide them a file and they go out and make your payments. You can provide that file using the export to CSV button, as well as posting the transactions directly from this grid into SL. So it gives you twofold. It'll create the transactions, moving the vouchers out of the vendor and paying them off, and then moving the voucher into the credit card company to be paid. So this product is for people who are paying bills with credit cards. Vendor multi-remit, I like to point out, because in SL, you are only allowed one remittance address. This product gives you the ability to have multiple remittance addresses. So if multiple remittance addresses is something you're interested in, please take a look at our vendor multi-remit product. Another item for vendors is if you're creating a lot of one-time vendors, if you're making a lot of one-time payments, reimbursements, things of that nature, you might want to use our one-time vendor product instead of creating a vendor ID for all of those one-time vendors you're never going to use again. So you can create a vendor called one time, and then when you pull up that vendor, you can generate this box and put in that one-time vendor's information and process for this information, not creating multiple vendor IDs and mucking up your vendor table. Then we have our AP Void Check Entry Plus. This product is a lot of times very important to people who have to void checks often. If you're finding yourselves voiding checks often, you have that 3-step process that you have to go through to void a check. Well, with our product, you load the grid, select which checks you want to void, and then it'll create a void check entry and end a debit memo batch and a zero check for you just by clicking the button, this process button down here. It also comes with a AP voucher reverser. If you haven't cut the check but you have the voucher, you can reverse the voucher from the AP voucher reverser screen. So you get both of these functionalities in one product. We have a newer product for people who are doing account reconciliation. If you are reconciling if you've got a lot of intercompany accounts or clearing accounts that you have to reconcile on a monthly basis, this product gives you the ability to tag transactions, filter them, and and you can see the tag maintenance screen down here gives you the ability to do the reconciliation on this screen. So you're not, gives you a one-step able to tag options and filter out what items haven't been tagged, things of that nature. So if you are doing a lot of account reconciling on clearing accounts or intercompany, you might want to take a look at Account Reconciler. And then one of our most popular products is fixed assets. I always like to talk about this product because I find a lot of people are tracking their assets on an Excel spreadsheet or in an outside system. And our fixed assets brings your fixed assets into SL, gives you the ability to create fixed assets directly from transactions in AP, general ledger, purchasing, or project controller. You can also run depreciation by clicking a button, and it'll post the depreciation for all your assets, as well as we have reports. Like we have a lot of reporting capabilities, and we do tax reporting for the 4797 and the 4562. So fixed assets, very popular product. If you don't have the fixed asset module and you are tracking those things on a spreadsheet or an outside system, you want to look into this product. Now, one thing I do want to mention is we do have some other webinars that will be going on for the rest of this month, and we have some next month. So if you would like to hear more about a specific product, check out our webpage under events to see what webinars we're holding this month. And if there is a specific product that you would like to hear more information about, please feel free to reach out to us, and we can set up a live demo of any specific product or multiple products that you'd like to see. We'll send out a catalog of all of our products for you with all of the pricing and a short description of each with our follow-up to this webinar today. And keep in mind, we have 20% off your product purchase through the end of November. So if you are wanting to, take a look at some of our products and add some things into your system, there is a discount running through the end of the year. So with that being said, you can always reach out to me directly or your Microsoft partner on questions on our products. And if you have any questions at this time on any of our products or on anything going on in Dynamics SL for Jeff, please put it in the question box, and we'd be happy to answer them for you.
Alrighty, Val, I've already got some out here,
Okay,
so I'll go ahead and get started. All right, so there's a couple of questions out here about our connection for Power BI and is it going to be OData? So yes, that is the plan right now. What the idea behind OData is, it makes it easier for us to connect to different scenarios out there. So this means that we could put something out on the web where you could click on a button and say, I want to connect to SL. It asks you where your data is, and that would do the connections for you. So the question is, will we be doing OData? That is the goal right now, and that's what we're hoping to have available when we go ahead and do that. There was a question here about time cards and their approvers. Is there a simpler, this might be one that we'll have to talk about. Is there a simpler way to change the time card approver after the time card is completed with that going into SQL? Glenn, I don't know off the top of my head, but Glenn, why don't we set up some time to talk about what we could do going forward to maybe make that more easy or make it easier or something to that effect. So I'd be happy to talk about that. The next one was about web apps and seeing if we're going to be adding ADFS and ADFS proxy. Julie, I'd love to talk to you about that. Why don't you go ahead and email me at v-jsuwyn@microsoft.com, and I'd be happy to set up some time to talk to you about that. The next question is for you, Miss Val. I'll read it. Can Rainbow Search be used in a manner similar to Quick Query, i.e. custom searches that are not available in Quick Query? Can you run, is that possible, Val?
I'm talking to myself on mute. It's not necessarily a quick query. So you are making a custom search every time you're searching. So you're going in and you're saying, give me this information, and it populates the grid for you. It's not saving your searches. So it's it's kind of like a one-time search. You're looking for this information, it populates the grid, and you export it. Whereas in Quick Query, you have a set query that you run and it populates. This is more of I'm looking for this specific information, or like I'm looking for all of my customers who paid over $500 this year, and I want to export all of that information out to an Excel pivot table. I'm able to do that, but it's not going to reset and hold that search for you. It's just a one and done.
Yep. And Val, the next two are for you. Can you read those? I know.
Yep.
There's one for you there, so I'll let you take that.
Multi-remit interface with Sandler Con's e-banking? I do not know that. I will have to go to development, Tom, and find out if multi-remit interfaces. Hold on, I'm just making myself a note. With SK. I will check that out for you and get back to you with an answer, because I am not sure if it does. If you're talking, Well, I'll find out if there's any integration between SailorCon and eBanking. And then Glenn asks, the 1099s get generated if you have multiple payments to multiple one-time vendors for different 1099 boxes. Glenn, good question. And also, I don't know the answer to that. So
Oh,
I
good
will
questions.
have
You're
to,
stumping
yes,
Val.
you're stumping me here. One-time
I
vendor
like
appears
this.
to support 1099 reporting. How will the 1099s get generated? Okay, Glenn, I have no idea on the 1099s getting generated, so I will find out about one-time vendor and how it affects 1099s getting generated, and see if I can get you an answer.
Very good.
Okay.
The next one was about the Power BI connection to Dynamics SL. So the question here is basically basically saying is the dashboard that we deliver right now only connects to project, and that's correct. That's all it's doing is connecting to the project data. But you can also take that initial connection and expand it, add it. It's not delivered in a package where it's locked down, you can't touch it. So Dennis, what you could do is, again, you're right, it is only connecting to, the dashboard only connects to project tables, but you can use it kind of as a, how did they do this? Where have they connect it? And kind of take it and move it beyond that. Now, again, we're going to deliver some additional dashboards when we deliver it with 2018 and when we get the O data. But also the document that's included with it as well will show you how just to start from scratch. How do you connect Power BI to your Dynamics SL data? So you'll be able to do that as well. So Dennis, if you download that, yes, it's only project, but again, you can use that as kind of a, okay, how did they do that? And how do I change this to, customer information or, AR, AP documents and all that stuff. So it's kind of a nice way to look and see how you could get started in changing it to do something different that you would like. So that's kind of the goal behind it, is to show you something really, really cool, but also give it as a kind of a template for you to start doing something else. All right. So first of all, thank you guys for asking questions. This means that people were actually listening, Val. I
I
love
know.
that part.
Sometimes I wonder, so it makes me feel better when people put questions in the question queue.
and really good questions. So thank you
Yeah.
guys so much. So again, Julie, reach out to me on that, and then I will, and Glenn, reach out to me as well, so we can set up some time to talk about the custom requests that you have. If we can maybe do these in web apps, or we can take some changes of web apps, I'm always happy to talk about that.
Well, thank you everybody for attending our session today. Again, it's going to be posted out on our website so that you can review it or share with any fellow SL users, as well as you can always contact myself or Jeff at Plumbline. My email address is on your screen right now, and Jeff's is jsuwyn at plumlineconsulting.com as well. So you can reach out to us. We would be happy to help you with anything we can. And thanks again for attending our session today. Have a wonderful rest of your day.